Ready? Hello, people of Instagram and people of YouTube now. Welcome to my van home. My name is Daphne, aka Flutist of the van. I've been living on the road for 3 years. I've been living in this van with my partner and my dog for a year and a half. I'm currently in Todos Santos, Baja California Sur, Mexico, which is on the west coast of Baja California Sur, which if you're not familiar, like Washington, Oregon, California, keeps going down, Baja, and it's Mexico. So we're on the Pacific Ocean, is right out there, maybe you can kind of hear it. And so there is abundance of seafood here, and we have this tuna steak that you can get right in town at one of the fish stores. They're ready to go. We're actually currently on this beach stranded because the van is broken down. We're waiting for a mechanic to come. So we've got what we've got. And tonight it's Tuna Tostadas and Tabouleh. So first thing we're gonna do is take some bulgur wheat. I have a little bit of a Shy Cup, which is a lot. And we're gonna heat up some water to cook the bulgur wheat. I actually was going to Google this before, but we have our Starlink off to save power because, like I said, we're stranded on this beach kind of, and we're going to add more solar power, but currently our inverter is struggling to keep up when we're not driving and don't have the alternator helping out. It's also the reason why we just have this big water jug on. We ran out of water. Normally we have 46 gallons of fresh water on board, but we ran out. So we're working with this collapsible 25-liter jug that is now our sink. So getting the true van life experience here. In the meantime, I'm going to chop our veggies for the tabouleh. So tabouleh is traditionally with like parsley and cucumber and tomato, lemon juice, things like that. I currently only have one tomato. It's got a little bit of mold on it, but we're going to cut around and pretend that never happened and nobody saw. Our secret little trash down here. Also, normally I would deseed the tomato because you want to get rid of excess moisture in this salad. But like I said, we're having kind of a make do with what she got, rough and tough kind of a night. So I'm just going to chop it up. I am going to put it right into a colander, however, and I'm going to add a little salt along with the chopped up cucumber, and that's going to draw some of the moisture out of the tomato. Like I said, deseeding would really help, but this is my salt well, and this is a shell that I picked up on a beach in Texas like 2 years ago, and it is a perfect teaspoon, and it's what I use for my salt. So I just have a little salt going in these tomatoes. That's in a colander that's hanging over my sink. I'm gonna take a cube. Actually, I'm being selectively lazy. I'm not gonna deseed the tomato, but I am gonna skin the cucumber. So who's to say? This cucumber's feeling a little lame. I feel it's like a little not feeling its best self, which is perfect for this salad. So I like to know that this cucumber is on its way out and it's getting to live its life. I'm going to get all those parts that are... So again, I would usually deseed the cucumber, and actually I think I am going to deseed the cucumber. We'll see if Izzy wants this little... No, he's later. So I am going to deseed this cucumber. So Todos Santos, where we are, is an agricultural hub of Baja California Sur. There's incredible produce that is grown here. Chef snack. Incredibly talented farmers, both locals, a lot of expats here. There's a rich tradition here, and it's a beautiful place where the desert and the mountains meet the sea. Got about a half of the cucumber and one Roma tomato cut. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. I probably added like a 1/4 teaspoon before. I'm adding maybe another heavy 1/4 teaspoon now. I'm just giving that a stir. I'm going to let that just chill over the sink. to just have some of that excess moisture drain off. Get a little fancy with my chef's knife. Meanwhile, this water is boiled. I'm going to kill the heat. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Again, like a 1/4 teaspoon of that. Mix it around, and I'm going to add my bulgur. This is my cup of bulgur. That's definitely heavy, but I just know me and Matt like to have this around. And that's a higher ratio than you would really do. Maybe you do like a 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup of bulgur wheat for how much parsley and tomato I've got going on, but we all love our carbs. So we're just gonna let that sit. I killed the heat. It's gonna absorb the hot water and it'll cook the bulgur wheat like that. It's a really small grain, so it cooks just in the hot water itself. Okay, in the meantime, we're gonna grab some parsley. I like to have my whole veggie drawer out. We only have a mini fridge. Like I said, our inverter's off, so currently there's no light on in here. And it's not even plugged in. This is our whole fridge. So this is my whole veggie drawer. And I like to have the whole thing out because I'm really, really hardcore about not wasting food. I get really butthurt when I have to throw something out because I forgot about it. So I find that having the whole veggie drawer out, or like doing a nice fridge recall before I start cooking, just to remind me of what has to get used up, really helps me avoid ending up throwing things out. So in this case, I have a whole bunch of fresh parsley and green onions. Traditionally with tabbouleh, like I have an aunt watching this who makes delicious tabbouleh. Actually, I'm assuming she's watching this, who's to say. She makes delicious tabbouleh, and she goes through the beautiful, painstaking work of taking each parsley leaf and like picking it off the stem. But my van's broken down. I'm in the middle of Mexico on a beach, and I just can't be bothered. So we are just gonna chop a bunch of parsley. And this is really the meat and potatoes of the salad. So it's as much as you really want to do. I'm gonna go pretty heavy. Never throw out your stems. Stems are like where a lot of the flavor is in fresh herbs. This can be used in this salad, honestly, even though, like I said, it's traditionally the stems are removed, but put it in anything. Fresh green salad that you're having. You can blend it up with like a little mayonnaise and avocado and vinegar and make like a avocado seed type dressing. You can put it, chop it up and put the stems in your rice when they're cooking, or your quinoa, just to give it a little green flair. Honestly, a big fresh head of parsley. It reminds me of like a big head of throat. It's a vibrant thing. In the van, this is the only knife that I have. I love it. Matt's sister got it for him. I fell in love with using this knife. It's kind of like wielding a beast. So the other way that I find it best to avoid throwing out fruits and vegetables or produce or meat or anything is via substitutions. So a lot of times when you go to make a recipe that either you've made 1,000 times, or so you know how you like it, or you're making it for the first time and someone's telling you how it should be, like that's never the case. So if you're ever doing a recipe and you have shallots or red onions or white onions or yellow onions and you don't have green onions, that's totally fine. Like, doesn't matter. If you had a bunch of cilantro instead of a bunch of parsley, I would say that that's totally fine. If you had a bell pepper instead of a cucumber, if you had cherry tomatoes instead of tomatoes, if you had lime juice instead of lemon juice, doesn't matter. I like to save these little bulbies. I have a little area in the top of my fridge for all the little random peppers. I have baby little mini bananas in there. And I'll throw those in something else later. We could totally put them in here, but honestly, I'm just feeling lazy, like I don't want to chop those right now. So we're just gonna go for the green onion stems. We made these countertops. Matt and I built this whole van. We made these countertops slightly higher, A, because Matt's tall, and B, because underneath this is our toilet. And we had to be able to fit the composting toilet, the sink drain, and the sink, and then countertop. And so as a result, I chop in the cookie dough. It's good calf exercise. Okay, so that's our herbs. If I had mint, I love putting mint in this as well. Matt's probably happy there is no mint. He's like me. It's really, really advantageous and just a quick Google away to know what is the family of things that you're substituting for. So like parsley and cilantro, you'd be swapping an herb, or lemon and lime, you'd be swapping an acid. Same thing as vinegar. As long as you know what the family is that you're trying to substitute, or what you're trying to add to the dish, that whatever you're missing would add, then as long as whatever you're substituting that for fulfills the same need in terms of like crunch or salt or fat or acid or creaminess or oh, I normally would just put this here but I'm making a video, but we're just gonna put it there. Okay, last thing is garlic, which I know I said that this is a famous place for produce, but I always like garlic is like the one thing I found to be slightly different. I think it doesn't get a chance to winter. So we found the garlic to be slightly less hardy, this is the term. Like the paper hasn't hardened as much and the garlic is kind of like soft. I don't know. My best friend is a farmer in New York. If you're in New York, you should go to Unbreaking Acres and visit the gorgeous farm stand. And she is literally dedicated her life to growing garlic. It's her greatest passion, so let's call her and thought about that. I haven't watched the films yet, but I was going to do that in movies. It wasn't going to be fun. Tapes, get your tapes. It wasn't going to be funny. Okay. This is my secret little drawer that has all of my cooking utensils. My wooden spoon, which speaking of musicals, this one has my name in it from one time that I did Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Someone in the cast. What's this called? Like wood carving or wood
burning? Wood
burning. Wood burned people's names. If you've ever seen that movie with Steve Martin, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, it's pretty hilarious. I grew up in musical theater back home. I'm a flute player, play a lot of musical theater. So a lot of my references are musical theater. So if you're looking for a reason to subscribe to this channel or not to subscribe to this channel, they're going to be musical theater references. So I don't know if that sways you one way or the other, but that's what you're in for here. I'm new to garlic presses. I used to be pretty hardcore. They're a waste. They're really annoying to clean. And actually in this moment I'm feeling pretty regretful because I have no running water in my home. Woo! Spicy. This is our tomato and cucumber that's been sitting in salt. You can definitely see that some water dripped out. Like I said, we're rough and tough in it, so we're going to call that good enough. No. Whoa! That's so perfect. Damn! Okay, but we are going to let this cool. So we're going to set this to the side. Maybe I'll put it outside to cool in the nighttime ocean breeze.
Put it in a plate bowl.
Tastes like grain. It's tuna time, it's tuna time. Alright, tuna tostadas. If you don't know what a tostada is, stick around because there's going to be one on this camera very soon. Okay, so I'm taking this is about 4 ounces of tuna and I've just sliced it. I'm just looking to get cubed. You could do this in nice slices and then arrange it. The other day we did this and I rubbed it down with a little wasabi paste. We have one of those little tubes of wasabi paste and then encrusted it in black and white sesame seeds and I seared it in some vegetable oil really quick. And then we sliced it and put that on tostadas. That was also delicious. But this is like traditional way to do it, which is just raw, like sashimi style. We're gonna add some vegetables, some acid and fat. It's gonna be beautiful. Anyway, this is some tuna that we've cubed up. We are going to add a shallot because this one's not doing so great. That's a lot of onion. We'll put some in the tabouleh.
Pivot.
Pivot. Next thing is the 4 limes, which are all of the limes that we have. Maybe only 2. What do you think, Lee?
2.
We'll start with 2. This is our lime juicer that we have happening. If you were to buy a juicer, I would recommend a metal one because we bought this plastic one and it's super flimsy and I'm not a fan. Could you open the trash for me? Alright, so we're gonna do some cucumber. Like I mentioned, this is definitely a good one to use up things that you have. Again, I'm gonna be de-seeding this cucumber. Chef snack? To cameraman. My first job I had in the food industry was working for a Johnny Rockets, actually, as a waitress. And then for years through college, I worked at a Friendly's. Shout out to my Northeast peeps. And I used to be really self-conscious because everyone would make fun of me because when I wrote down the orders, when I was waitressing, I would make like this weird like droopy face. And so I also feel self-conscious about that while I'm chopping. Jalapeno. You could do serrano in here. You could do, if you were freaking crazy, you could do a habanero. But I don't suggest it. Whatever you got. One of those little yellow peppers. This one's kind of popping open, so we're going to utilize this one. Bum, 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 bum. I'm not actually full of nonsense tonight because I'm on camera. I'm full of nonsense because it's been such a crazy week. We've been in Baja. Like I said, we got here in January. We've been here for 4 months. And we drove in. So we drove in through Calexico. And we explored the north. We were with friends. Beautiful beaches. Then we came to La Paz, the beach of Tecolote, and we went to our very first van festival. It started during COVID, so not a lot of social events in van life for me. And we went to Escapar La Baja, which is a van festival. I think it was their 4th year this year.
Yeah.
And there were like 700 vans on this beach. We've been in Baja California Sur ever since, and we're in the town of Todos Santos, where my first YouTube video that I put out, which is the one before this last Wednesday, I shared that we bought property here and we'll be coming back in December, and we're gonna put a little shipping container, a big shipping container, but turn into a little house, a tiny house on the property, and we are going to be converting it into our second tiny home together, this van being our first. And we're going to live out of it while I work down here as a private chef, as well as continue to teach my flute and piano lessons online, and also work down here as a wedding musician, playing wedding ceremonies as a flutist. Matt is going to continue to do his business online and doing chalk drawings, and maybe take on some woodworking clients. So we're really excited to get involved with this community more and share with you about what it's like. In the meantime, I'm flying, once we finally get out of here in the van fix and get back to the United States, I'm flying to Bali for a trip by myself for about a month. And then we're going to be visiting friends and family in New York for September, October. And then we're going to fly there. So we'll leave the van somewhere on the West Coast. And then we'll visit friends on the West Coast and make our way back down to Baja to be here for like the end of November and start our tiny house project. I chose a very small goal, but we're going to hope that it works out for us here. I'm going to be sharing recipes until I go to Bali, and Matt has been helping me create a note in our iPhones of all the recipes that we've made in the van. We eat, like, we call ourselves vegan plus, so we eat vegan like a lot of the time. I will always, whenever things are not vegan, include an opportunity for how to make it vegan. So for this one, honestly, I would just do tofu. If you chop tofu up instead of the tuna and like let it soak in some soy sauce and maybe some gochujang, and it was just the avocado I was getting. maybe some gochujang or sriracha or something like that. And then put it in here like I put the tuna in. I think that would honestly be delicious. You know, you're in your own home and you use an avocado spoon to get your mayonnaise out. So I've got some avocado, some mayonnaise. I'm making some sauce for the bottom of the tostadas. I find that it helps everything stick to it. And I did this last time in the blender and it worked very nicely, but I'm being kind of lazy. I'm adding a little sriracha. I think I'm gonna add a little soy sauce. This is my first time filming, really, and I find that I'm moving a little slower than I normally would. Let's speed it up. This is one of these Mexico Lindo hot sauces. It has kind of like a, it's not super spicy, that one. It's like a lot of soy sauce and umami type, like, almost reminds me of gravy master, but for stuff like this, for raw pork sauces. Last thing, I went to an aerial yoga class here the other day. Other reason we're excited to move here, there's so many cool events like that all the time. And this woman had a mango tree on her property, and she was giving a bunch of mangoes away because she's got more mangoes than she knows what to do with. So I'm the kind of person that loves mango and like my sushi or my sashimi, my tostadas, and Matt's the kind of person that does not. So I'm gonna chop up some mango, these cute little baby mangoes, and just keep them on the side for my tostadas. So let's see, what could you substitute mango for if you wanted a fruity hit but you didn't have mango?
Papaya.
Papaya, yeah. I think an apple, like if you really finely chop an apple, I think that could be really fire.
Here.
Is this the thumbnail?
That's the thumbnail.
Last thing, before we finish up our tabbouleh, is some arugula. So whenever I add my arugula to things, which I love having arugula around, I'll put it on egg sandwich. Okay, the phone died. Not sure how much we lost, but we're gonna finish up the tuna tostadas and tabbouleh. We're gonna finish up the tabbouleh. So this is cooled enough. And the reason you want to let it cool is that you don't want to wilt the parsley and the cucumbers and stuff. You don't want to have the heat of the wheat. The heat of the wheat doing that. So again, just to recap, we have a bunch of parsley in here, tomatoes, cucumbers, some salt, some shallots, some green onion, and some garlic. We're gonna add a healthy glug of olive oil. We have a lot of lemon juice in here, but I am gonna add just a little bit of red wine vinegar because I like that. We're gonna add a really healthy amount of cumin, which is, you know, like 2 hefty gold spoons. If you're not sure what a hefty gold spoon is, just DM me on Instagram. And this is z'atar. I wouldn't say that's traditional, but I like to add z'atar. Z'atar is a blend of spices, and I'm probably repeating by doing that. And you know what, honestly, we're just gonna call that good. We're gonna serve it with tahini on the side because tahini is God. I like a lot of black pepper. I'm probably gonna add more cumin because I find that the bulgur and everything really just eat up the cumin. Also the kind of thing that sits ahead of time really well. And I find that it absorbs more of the oil, the cumin, and the lemon juice. So you have to add more later on, but I think this is good. So let's move on to finishing these tostadas. We're really making these tostadas. Okay, it's tostada assembly time. So we have our avocado, mayonnaise, salty, creamy dip. And it's gonna be the base of our tostadas. This is gonna give you a creamy element and also help everything stick to the tostada. So we are gonna start with that. Take some of the greedy ones. You wanna use the back of the spoon to move it around. This also applies to pizza sauce. if you're making a pizza, and this is basically raw fish pizza, which doesn't sound really good, but it's actually delicious. We have arugula that I chopped up because you always want to think about the user experience, and if you bite into a beautiful tostada bite, which can already be a little complicated, and you get a big pull of arugula, this is pretty hefty arugula, so if you get a big pull of arugula, it's kind of hard, and then before you know it, the tostada is crumbled, and your tuna's fallen everywhere, and you're crying, getting a fight, and you break up. Okay, so we have arugula, and then we have some tuna mixture. Again, in here we've got fresh tuna, avocado, cucumber, jalapeno, lime juice, soy sauce. Off camera, I think I added a little bit of sesame oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. That's really it. We just take beautiful fresh ingredients, treat them well, and get down to the important part of sharing with your friends and family. Sesame seeds, I have black and white. We keep them in this little jar mixed together. I think pro tip, because life is better with diversity and variety. When it comes to food, for me it's variety. It's going to give you better nutrition, and it's going to give you better flavor. It's going to keep you less bored, which is going to keep you coming back to cooking at home more often. It's going to save you money. All the things. Next thing we need is every type of hot sauce that you own. A couple of reasons. One, use them or lose them. Two, they make beautiful colors on the plate. And three, because I told you so. So we have our tostadas and all of our hot sauces. We have mango just for me on the side. We have our tabouleh. And that's going to be dinner. Like I said, I like to serve it with some tahini on the side. But that's it. So we're going to take some thumbnails now and do it. Thanks for joining, everybody. Okay, time to try. So I'm going to put a piece of mango on mine. I added already a bunch of drops of different colored hot sauces. So wish me luck to health and happiness. It just hits every time. It just smacks every time. You get the crunchy tostada, obviously. You get creaminess, which is a little sweet from the avocado. Arugula just makes everything better. It's just fresh and good. It's what you want it to be. It's way more filling than you might think it is as well. I put a lot of hot sauce. Tahini, drizzled all over everything because that's how I like my life. Tabouleh, my Daphne spoon. Honestly, this combo was unplanned and not traditional in any sense of the word. But both of them, you get green hit to the
baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and